For the latest in strategic affairs, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell icon for updates.
This is StratNews Global. I'm Amitabh. Revi. On the gist today, our guest is Air Marshal S.K.Jha. He's the Air Officer in Charge Personnel in the Indian Air Force. Air Marshal, thank you so much for your time. I know the last 2 days and maybe even 2 years have been extremely
Most
busy.
welcome.
When we talk about the Agnipath, and there have been a lot of anxieties and opinions that have been expressed, but I'd like you to talk about the Indian Air Force and what are the benefits that you see you will gain or reap, maybe not immediately, but in the years to come.
Oh, okay. The benefits are manifold, Amitabh. And we will start reaping the benefits right from the time these youngsters start coming to our training institutes. It will give us an opportunity to start on a clean slate and kind of mold the future generations of Indian Air Force, which is ready for the combat or the conflicts or no war, no peace situation that Raksha Mantri alluded a few days ago, and absolutely abreast with the latest developments in technology. So in a way, it has given us a brand new canvas to paint the picture of a modern, tech-savvy, efficient, multitasking Air Force, and with concurrent advantages to the nation as a whole. Now to get to specifics, I get to train my Agniveers for a shorter duration in an entirely new way, deeply infused with technology, simulation, so that within 6 to 7 months, I give him the first concentrated dose of training and make him ready for the job that he'll do for the next 6 months to 1 year. Once he's gained proficiency and experience and is familiar with the Air Force environment, we infuse the next short dose of skills and training and take him to the next higher level. And this process will continue throughout his tenure as Agniveer. With the rollout of the NEP, credit-based system, this also gives me an opportunity to accord him opportunities to earn more credit, and thereby, while working towards the good of the Indian Air Force, he also is working towards self-improvement goals. Now, erstwhile, what was happening was that we took rookies, we did our best to put the right man in the right job. We trained him to a certain level, which took anywhere between 1.5 years to 2.5 years. And we trained him for the task that he would be carrying out for the next 10 to 15 years. You will agree that not all task in any area is the task that a guy does in his first few years and what he does in his 7th, 8th, 10th, 15th year. Which means, very often I was using my fully trained air warriors at a lower level, which did not require all those skills. What was also happening, that with long duration training, we were putting him in a very specific trade. He's a propulsion fitter, he's a weapon tradesman. And over the years, these walls became more structured and I would say ossified, It was important for us to break these walls because there are many tasks which are common to every air warrior. And Agniveers will be the starting point to achieve this important. The next would be that we got one chance to gauge a guy, and that was also through a few academic exams. and a 3-day interaction with him or 5-day interaction with him in the Airman Selection Center. But once he was in, he was ours for the next 20, 30, 35 years, 37 years till he either left after 20 years or he superannuated. Here I get 2 opportunities. First, while inducting, then I get a chance to judge him over the next 3-4 years. And so does he. He also gets a chance to see the Air Force for the next 4 years, see what he likes about it. Maybe we will get a feedback from him, what he doesn't like, and we'll be able to incorporate those changes and then make up his mind. We get a chance to assess him over a 4-year period. In our scheme of things, he will undergo at least 3 formal exams and at least 3 annual assessments.
Over these 4 years?
Under different people. Our endeavor will be to expose him to a kind of a peace location and at least 1 exposure to a forward location, just to see how well he adapts to those circumstances. So you can see that those who we retain as regulars, we would have already achieved a fairly high level of confidence in him and fairly high level of training and competence in him and experience. Hence, the super specialized training that we needed to impart would be much shorter and again very focused.
So more like just-in-time training.
I wouldn't call it just-in-time. The intent of just-in-time was different. This is like nothing before.
So in that sense, it's transformational.
Amazingly. Next is that you are aware that every 5-year, 8-year technology is changing, transforming. 5G is about to roll out. People are talking of 6G, space, cyber. So every 4 years, we will get an opportunity to scan, to assess. By then, the emerging technologies would start becoming visible, especially those that are relevant to the Indian Air Force, and we will make our pick. This was not possible for me earlier. So,
and the Air Force and the Army, the Navy, I beg your pardon. I'm not saying the Army isn't so technologically focused, but has your entry and your training is all very technology oriented.
Absolutely. The entire Indian Air Force today is networked. Network. We can get a live video feed from any part of the country to any part of the country. We can make a telephone call from any part of the country and not on the landline, through our own private network. Everything flows on centralized data. Our logistics, our maintenance, our operations are all networked. Starting from training institutes, my trainees, my young boys are using handheld devices for training. Simulation is deeply. So technology is embedded in us and increasingly so. So the youth today, which is so much more techno-savvy, most of them are operating smartphones, laptops and other devices, are so much more clued into this.
It has been a long process for the MOD, the services, the government to reach this stage. So there's been a lot of thought and strategy about it. What are the challenges in particular that the Indian Air Force sees ahead?
Our primary challenge at this moment, the most important challenge is to roll out this program smoothly, to have a robust training program for them, prepare the environment to absorb these guys, to utilize them. And those activities are starting concurrently. We have, as of yesterday, a detailed description of the whole scheme has gone out to each individual of the Indian Air Force. Starting Friday, a team, including the Chief of Air Staff, is going around addressing each and every air warrior to prepare him. I have on my AOP website a site which is live where the comment suggestions are solicited from the field at different units. How are you envisaging? At this moment, we have 13 teams working, looking at different facets of the induction. The training academies are being prepared. So there is a lot happening, and on war footing. So this is my immediate challenge and my notification goes out before end of next week. My first batch comes in before end of the year, which means my first batch rolls out into the field 1 year from now, starting 1 year from now. So we have a 1 year timeline. This is insofar as the induction and training is concerned. Concurrently, we will also thereafter prepare the mid-career training packages, which is an ongoing process. Interaction with the other ministries and departments is on for the method in which credits will be granted, so that he has a good proficiency certificate once he completes his 4-year Agniveer duty. Thereafter, if there is a matter of concern, and that we are already started working, and actually we have been at it for the last 6-7 months, is to make sure that the combat capabilities of frontline units or combat units or combat support units are in no way depleted. Okay, the qualified manpower is gradually being weaned away from static and staff appointments and being pushed into the combat units, combat support units. There is one issue which will emerge 6-7 years from now, where the mid-level people will be in lesser numbers. We are looking already at options. We've started discussion at a different level, that how do we make up for the shortages. We will have to bring in some structural changes, maybe go back to ministry also to retain a few people. We don't know yet, but we are aware of the challenges, and we'll make it attractive to retain our trained people for as long as possible.
Marshal, like you're saying, it is transformational, the steps that are being taken, and there are challenges, some maybe not foreseen, but the assurance that is coming from the top, I mean, whether it's politicians or from the military, is that there is nothing that's written in stone. I mean, if necessary, there will be changes, because there was a lot of, why are you doing this at one go? Why don't you have a pilot project first, smaller project?
Absolutely. This is the assurance that we get and repeatedly get, that see, some things are beyond debate. Sustaining the combat capability of the armed forces is not even a matter of debate. It will be done. Be it resources, be it change in rules and regulations, nobody is ever going to tinker with that. We are rolling out small because we also need time to get our things in order. And we need time for the environment, for the functional units to understand where best can they be utilized, and not utilized on frivolous tasks, because we are playing with our own brethren, and they are our own people, and we will retain them. So we are starting small in a certain manner, which after 2 years of deliberation, after global scan, has been found to be optimal, but nothing is cast in stone.
Again, you were talking about assessments, and now you have 2 chances at assessing the Agniveers. How is that assessment going to be done? I mean, is it been chalked out?
Yeah.
How do you decide which 25 and which 75?
No,
That's it.
We are, first and foremost, we are going to give equal opportunity to every Agni. Okay. Everything will have an equivalence, that if he is working in aircraft stream, there will be an equal equivalence in the support stream, operational support stream, or admin support stream, or in the SAGW, surface to air guided weapon stream or radar stream, there will be equivalence found. And this equivalence will be based on the amount of effort it takes to achieve those standards. So there will be a common, it will be a level playing field for everybody. Then we have well laid out physical fitness standards. We have a system of quarterly testing of physical fitness standards. Everybody will be put through those tests and it will be recorded. Then we already have a system of testing and skill-based testing of all our airmen. This is being extended to Agniveers also and modified for them. And somewhere middle of his 4th year, 3.5 to 4 years, each one of them will undergo a kind of standardized test. And based on that, and based on his discipline, his attitude, his initiatives, all of which will carry weight, we will be preparing a overall merit list. And based on that, we'll do our next level of selection.
In this process, do you require to tweak both, whether it's do you need more recruitment personnel resources, training personnel resources? The Indian Air Force I'm talking about.
Not at the moment, because the numbers that we're inducting in the first 2 years is half the number that we were inducting. And the training that we are going to impart to them is less than 1/3. So actually, we are, for these few years, we have overcapacity, and we are optimizing those, because those are my trained instructors and others who we are sending back to our combat units and other units where they can be utilized. So we have no issue. And by the time the numbers exceed, we will be extremely prepared, I mean very well prepared of scaling it up.
Does administrative work go up a lot? I mean, first at the induction stage, then while you're assessing him for the next 4 years, then when you have to put him back into society.
You know, thanks to our pan-India network and almost everybody having access to computers, and we intend to make every Agniveer very savvy and bring them to a minimum acceptable standards. Everything keeps getting logged, and we are now going to use more and more automatic, where data at one place automatically gets fed at 10 different places. We are already on paperless office. So we will keep putting the best practices, and there is a double intent. You know, people used to talk of dual use technology. We are going to do dual use training. The networking that he sees here, the networked environment that he works in here, I think any industry or any company or department would love to have.
I know it's apples and oranges, but say your short service commission didn't particularly work out in that manner when people had to go and find jobs, the officers. But it might not be comparable, but...
I don't know from where you have this information. Air Force never had this problem. Even today, you know, we get more than 200 applications for every vacancy for the officer cadre. We get more than 100 applications for every vacancy in the airman cadre. Because the message spreads. One is the internal dynamics of the Indian Air Force, which gives them an amazing opportunity, and the sheer pride of wearing the blue uniform and doing some cutting edge work, you know. And then the constant challenges that Air Force provides and the avenues that Air Force provides. I don't, it's a non-issue for Air Force, trust me.
So unlike what has happened in the past, you don't foresee after 4 years, say, a spate of legal litigations on why am I being not part of the 25%.
So the initial notification that we will release for makes it extremely clear that this is 4 years and no more. And this in no way gives anybody in any way, a right to be re-enrolled. I would say it is. You could consider it. I mean, though it's a vague analogy, that the prelims and mains are spread by 4 years, with 4 years of work and training in between.
So overall, Marshal, I mean, since you are looking at what in civilian world we call from cradle to grave, kind of, as in from recruitment to retirement, where do you visualize the Indian Air Force in particular, say, 10 years down the line, if everything works out smoothly?
10 years down the line is a very good place that we'll be in, even with all the uncertainties, because I will have majority, 60-70%, or at least 70% of experienced people, young experienced people, reasonably technology savvy experienced people, and 30% or 25 to 30% of either Agniveer or regulars taken from Agniveer. So that will be a kind of an optimal mix of the current school and the future. And I think that's the place where we will find our true balance for, let's say, a major review. But the place that I find Indian Air Force is a dynamic Air Force where a lot of innovation, lot of filling up the capability gaps, either existing or perceived, a lot of designing, making functioning and life easier and better will happen from within the Air Force. The Atmanirbhar Bharat, we have set up a design, internal design thing. All that will, I would say, come together at that time, will mature at that time.
Hey, Marshal Jha, absolutely appreciate your time and explaining to us and our viewers where you see the Air Force.
I would say in conclusion that stakes perhaps are the highest for us. We have been given a responsibility. Air Force, is the first responder, both in peace and crisis or in war, and in many ways we are the last bastion too. And we have the moral responsibility to make this work. We are absolutely confident.
Appreciate it again. Thanks so much, sir.
Thank you.
And do send us your feedback on this particular interview and, of course, the issue. You've been watching The Gist on StratNews Global. I'm Amitabh, Revi.